This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing. I think the second step after the mass up is the cleanup. You know, decontaminate all the environment. We were sitting up here having some crazy discussion before the show. We ain't gonna talk about that right now, because we ain't trying to scare you up. We're trying to get you masked up, and we're trying to get you to clean up. So we got some special guests here with us today. Tony Barr with Community Frontline Services. Tony has been a supporter of Vietnam Veterans of America for, I know, the last 5 years, right, and a dedicated supporter. And Frontline Community Services have come up with a project that I absolutely support, because I have been in the community talking about the 22 young people. Well, not young. We learned just in 2019, one of them was a Vietnam era veteran at the Atlanta VA that killed himself. 22 veterans a day. Tony, thank you for being here with us today, brother. I want to just acknowledge we got two Tonys here today. Tony Barr and Tony Merritt. Now, Tony Merritt is the vice chair of Concerned Black Clergy's Veteran Affairs Committee, which is, we doing a lot. Go hear from Tony. But I want to first hear from my special guest and let him talk with us a minute about helping us decontaminate. Tony, save us, brother.
Okay, I'd like to say hello to everybody out in the social media world and give a special thanks to Reverend Nelson McGee here. For those that may not know, Reverend Nelson McGee met it, like I say, some years ago, and he has just been dedicated, along with all the other veterans that serve within the organization, to making it better for all veterans and making the community aware of what's going on in the veterans world. And he deserves all the support along with the other veterans, especially even, I'm going to talk about Operation Decontamination, but before I say that, I am also committed to seeing, if you're not aware, Sons of Atlanta, which is a monument dedicated to the lives from the soldiers from the great Atlanta area here that made the ultimate sacrifices and have been granted land in Piedmont Park to create this monument. And I think it's maybe about a $4 million goal that it may take. But the sad part of it is, when I heard that number, in this city that's rich with from entertainers and all other kind of stuff, that goal should have been met in a week, far as I'm concerned. I've seen other goals met or whatever, and it's a travesty if we don't support this cause as well, right here in the city of Atlanta. The birthrights of civil rights and so many other great things, the city too busy to hate. But we must show love, to this special cause. And I can't, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention that conversation. But now I'll move on to where I'm coming from. I work along president of an organization called Frontline Community Service, headquartered in Tucker, Georgia. And we have a program called Vet 22 program. Vet 22 is named in honor of the 22 veterans that commit suicide every day. And yes, that is every day. Suicide is sad in any case, and the numbers, I believe, may be 800 nationwide. It's up there. But especially with these veterans that have made enough ultimate sacrifice and come back home only to take their own lives, not in the war, but right here on the home front. So I can never forget those 22, and someday I hope they call Vet Zero. That would be a dream of mine, but we carry on and we let their legacy live on, and the families and everybody that suffers that loss, we can never forget that, and we must continue to fight to get our veterans every benefit they deserve. At Frontline, we believe our veterans did not sacrifice red blood for red tape. So we're more on the private side of things. We're not tied into maybe the government control anything like that. So we try to expedite much as we can with what we have. But now we're moving on to another campaign called Operation Decontamination. Well, that job is to bring in veterans, get them trained, licensed, bonded, certified to come into your home, office, school, church, or business free of charge to decontaminate your setting. Now, one thing with this unknown virus, whatever you want to call it, what people are not talking about is preventive measures. We already don't know what's people, when you shelter in place, what people are already living with, mold, mildew, all other kind of viruses and other germs, and we don't know how this may intermingle, but we know in order for America to come back out of the shelter, everything is going to have to be decontaminated wherever you go. Right now, you can like I saw an insurance a commercial years ago. You say you can pay me now or you can pay me later. But right now, if you want to get out here, you need to pay now. I mean, because germs, they don't have to come to the meeting table with you to bargain with you, whatever. They can do whatever they want to do and take on whoever they want to take on. I don't care how much money you got, who you are, whatever. They can do what they want to do. And when I say what the veterans can do with this program, it can just make life easier. And when I say germ warfare, I don't want to put the impression out that we're trying to eliminate germs, because first of all, in biology, you may learn that there's some good germs. If you got intestines or gut, there's 100 trillion germs in there that's good, that keeps it going. But what makes it bad is probably when 101 trillion bad ones get in there and overtake some things. So we have to watch out for those type situations, especially in the home environment with, like I say, mold, mildew that may cause asthma and different problems, health situations. We just have to be able to combat that. And so what the Vet 22 Operation Decontamination wants to do is take care of your setting, wherever you are, whoever you are, doesn't matter, your race, creed, color, anything like that. If we have operating budget, we will let you know that we can come out and take care of you, and what we use is eco-friendly, nothing toxic, and it lasts up to 90 days. But it's going to be needed more than ever if we're going to ever get back out here. But life probably won't be the same as we knew it before, but we still can move forward. I mean, it'd probably be like the 911 effect. You might remember before the 911, you can go to the airport, somebody fly in Atlanta for 2-3 hours, you go walk up and sit at the gate, talk with them till they leave. But you can't do that now. That's just the price paid from 911. Same thing's gonna happen with this virus. You're gonna have to be a little bit more cleaner, a little bit more cautious, or whatever, but in order to come out the fear, you just gotta get educated about coming out the fear or whatever. Because we're in round one, far as I know, and I can assure you, just as they predict we got 12 hurricanes on the way, we have another round or two of this virus coming. Because first of all, due to our veterans, they have made life so easy for us that we don't know how to shelter in place because of the freedom that they have fought and given us, and we don't want to give it up, even when we got a at-large enemy out there waiting to shoot us down. We've been free so long and not realizing that this is the price that the veterans paid so we can enjoy these freedoms. But now when you see that it's taken away, everybody want to get their guns and go storm in the Capitol buildings and everything. We want to be free, this and that. Well, the government ain't going to determine this freedom with this virus for you. They just trying to protect and say, hey, we need to do this and do that till we can counter it. But we're going to have to make some other measures to make it work for everybody. So it's a lot of work to be done, and everybody can do their part. And what we ask with Vet 22 decontamination program, we ask people where they can at least donate $22 or more, whatever. But the 22 is always significant, like I say, because of the 22 veterans that commit suicide. We'll never forget them and their families as well. But all that little bit helps out, from the, from our campaign. And our small, even though it's dedicated to the veteran with the 22, and being a small amount, it's one principle we take. We don't receive like $1 million grants or anything like that. It's mostly on like a campaign style budget, $5, $10, $20 that adds up, but it makes a big difference. And Ray McGee, I always tell folks, we learned this one lesson. If Brother Tony can answer this question, I always say, what is the richest church in the world? Answer that for me. Can somebody answer? If you can't, I'll tell you the answer. The richest church in the world is the Vatican.
I was gonna say.
That's the richest church in the world. Now, let me ask you this. Now, what church you would say has the most poorest members in the world? Baptist.
Probably the Vatican.
Right, it's the Vatican. Yeah. The Vatican has a theory what they live by. It's not they don't depend on multimillionaires. They may have 1 billion poor people, but they can count on those poor people to give them $2 or $3 a week. They've been doing it for centuries, and it adds up. So otherwise, that's why I'm going to say. So you don't have to be rich, famous, or anything, to make a small contribution, because the lives that we're fighting for in this battle, like I said, all lives, and especially those with the less will probably wind up getting the least. I'm pretty sure right now, most folks with a certain income level cannot afford to be decontaminated. Their houses can't be treated. They don't know what they're living with, carbon dioxide, all kind of things in the house. They have no clue. They just doing the best they can, right? Right. So, but somebody has to look out. But I can say with the veterans, of what I've been able to appreciate about veterans, two things you're going to get with veterans. You're going to get good leaders from them, and you're going to get good followers. They're trained. I don't know why this country don't utilize our veterans the way we should, because they've already invested in them. And they spend more time as veterans when I see fighting the VA trying to get a claim or something, or whatever, going through all this red tape. And, it was easy to get in, but they catch the H getting out to get what they deserve. And that's just part of politics and everything else, but they don't deserve that. And I think as regular civilians, if you never serve, you owe it to these veterans to support them, to make sure they don't get caught up in the red tape and all these other things, and support all the different programs. I mean, so you need to listen and say thank you. Like Vet 22 says, every day at Vet 22 is Veterans Day. We are open, we listen, we love our veterans, and we'll never forget them. And we need more folks to show that love, even though, our love may be limited in scope, what we can do, but with your participation, a lot can be done. So, you can thank the veterans today, even while you're in shelter in place. You can think about all the times you've been able to enjoy that freedom, walking in the park or going to a game or whatever. A lot of countries, you just can't do that, even if it was no virus. The government tell you everything you can do, and what to say, where to go, everything, how many children you can have. But here you got a lot of freedoms, and it starts appreciating our veterans, putting them back to work. And that is one thing with this Operation Decontamination. We know we got a lot of work to do. This is just a prevented starting point, but we got years to get this place back right. I mean, when we inherited this earth, it was clean, and it had a lot of good things about it, but now a lot of bad things may have happened, and this is a wake-up call. And that is why I was invited today on Veterans Talk, to let people know that in order to change this, it's going to also have to be an environmental change, starting even where you live, even learning more about different products, what you use. And those are the type of things at Vet 22 Operation Decontamination we want to educate you about. And even though I'm limited in scope today, but I'm pretty sure in the future, and you visit our website, which is actually vet22.vet, and that's it, vet22.vet, and you can read about Operation Decontamination, everything that you would probably need to know to see how it can benefit you. But let
me ask you one question. I'm kind of excited about Operation Decontamination. I guess most disabled veterans would have a personal interest in decontaminating this and helping decontaminate. I'm an ambassador. Could you tell some of our veteran viewers now, especially my friends on Facebook, how they can become an ambassador?
Right. What you can do is actually go to the vet22.vet site, and you can put in your email address, and you can request additional information on how you can serve as an ambassador for the Vet 22 Operation Decontamination program. And it educates you to certain things, and you can spread certain things that would be very helpful. But we'll be more than happy to, to make you a ambassador that can spread the good news and good cause. And it's just, like I said, just a good community to be in. But yes, visit vet22.vet, and just you can go to contact us, and it'll ask you for email and a little information, and just put in what you need, and someone with Vet 22 will respond back to you with the information that you need, and then you'll be able to take it from there.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Now, talking about veterans, I've been involved with being a veteran ever since I was discharged from the U.S. military in 1969. That was when they gave me the official paperwork that said I was a veteran. I just came back home from fighting a war, a very divided war, and needed some help. Needed help, needed information. Couldn't get it. had to go 16 calendar years before I could get the VA to recognize that I was service-connected disabled to any degree. Now it has become almost presumptive. I got a Purple Heart, I got a combat infantry badge. Well, it's presumptive now that you're disabled. You got all of that, you're disabled. Well, I think that came about from Vietnam Veterans of America, American Legion, DAV, and the veteran service organizations in our community. But one very important element of that community has not been really talked about or highlighted until we started being a part of Concerned Black Clergy Veteran Affairs Committee, which, Concerned Black Clergy is a ecclesiastic organization here in Atlanta that represent the least of these. They're advocates, they're people that push for changes, and very helpful. Over 125 churches in this organization. And we know that some of these churches got veteran ministries, a lot of them got veteran ministries. But unfortunately, that veteran ministry just means that they have some for veterans on Veterans Day and maybe Memorial Day, but no real concern about the plight of the veterans sitting in that pew. But I'm gonna say this before I ask Tony to talk about this. Pastors, show me your veterans and I'll show you how to increase your tithes. Talk to us, Tony.
Yeah, and you just stole the line. I was going to quote you on that. But it is, as a member of the Concerned Black Clergy Veteran Affairs Committee, it is our task right now to get as many ministers as we can involved in getting their veterans their benefits. By getting those veterans their benefits, then you have a satisfied congregation, a congregation that's financially better off than they were before they got their veterans benefits. By doing that, guess what? They're going to be contributing financially to your congregation, along with, of course, being physically there. Now, true enough, there are churches with veterans organizations within them, but every church, and I can say that without quivering, every church has veterans within their congregation. And by getting those veterans, whether they're in an organization in your church or not, getting those veterans to get their benefits, you are going to benefit from it, and the church is going to benefit from it, and of course the community is going to benefit from it. So that's one of the things that the Veterans Affairs Committee is doing, is trying to get those veterans recognized within the congregation, within these churches, and I guarantee it's all of them, that are entitled to benefits, obtaining those benefits so that they can be functioning citizens within our community. So one of the things we want to do is encourage those ministers, any of you who are on Facebook now live with us, is to get the word to your veterans within your congregation that this is something that they need to be taking part of, and of course benefiting from. So
let me add this to it, Tony. We do a claim clinic here at Omega Holiness Church every first Monday of the month. And my motto is, if you come through this clinic, you can win your case if you take the data that we give you out of this clinic. See, one of the things, the word tells us people perish for the lack of knowledge. And that's what we give you in the claim clinic, the capacity to understand and know the VA claim process from A to Z. And because we do know it and have practiced in that since 1975, we're teaching now. We're not doing claims. We're teaching, and we got the capacity. We have a relationship with the Georgia Department of Veteran Services and other veteran service organizations where we work with them to make sure that your claim is going to win. There are certain things you can do to make sure that your claims win. And now let me say this. We're not just talking about disability benefits when we talk about benefits veterans earn. The business benefit, there are twofold of business benefits. I was talking earlier about the disabled veteran benefit, and I want to talk about that real quick. That's a business benefit. You can be 100% disabled, and you can actually go to the Atlanta VA on Claremont Benefits Administration and ask them for a letter. Now, it might be on e-benefits now, I'm not sure. But they will give you a letter telling you you're entitled to what they would call a occupational license. An occupational license is actually no more than a business license. That the trick with this business now, it automatically makes you hire somebody because you, as a disabled veteran, can't run the business. It automatically make you hire somebody. That means you can get one of your children, one of your cousins, somebody that you know got the capacity to help you with that business. You own the business. You be on the board of directors. You can volunteer within the business, but you can't run the business by yourself. That business automatically gives you 2% set aside, 3% set aside on every level of government. These are non-bidding contracts. Once you get your business set up, and if you can do business with the government, if it's a business that can do business with the government, they got that business available, you get it before they bid it out. This is Veterans Talk. We're just trying to give you some information that's going to make things better in the community for veterans. Pastors, I know you heard what Anthony was saying. It's a simple process. I forgot to tell you. If that veteran come up with a 700, I don't care what veteran this is now, any veteran with a 700 credit score can get $250,000 to start a business with. To start it. Then they got other allocations to up to $5 million to help you run.
Now, Reverend McGee, let me ask you, what is the time frame and the process that a veteran, if they wanted to submit that?
Well, let me tell you, that's one of the benefits that don't have a time limit on it.
Okay.
You can be just discharged or discharged 60 years ago and get that same benefit. And the other one is the home loan. Now, you would say every veteran is entitled to a home loan with purchase a home with no money down, right?
Right.
You would say, why there's so many homeless veterans there? You have to have a certain credit score in order to get that benefit. Churches can help you. I know I know a bunch of y'all churches now. You got all these credit repair people in your church. So get them to help your veterans repair credit, and then the whole community will benefit. You know, the credit issue is a real issue with veterans getting those two benefits. Now, educational benefits, what a lot of veterans don't know, every time you get a service-connected disability rating, you open yourself up to rehab education. And then you can go back to school and increase your level of knowledge in that business area or in any area that you would want to pursue. And they call it the quality of life benefit. Normally, it's designed to rehab you to go back to work. With this quality of life benefit, which is coming up under the rehab program, it's just designed to make you have a better quality of life. We want people to understand the full array of veterans benefits and how they can change the economic and social landscape of the community.
Okay, now let me ask you, now that their credit score is corrected, and they want to go ahead and move forward with the $250,000 beginner money to start a business, what is the actual submission requested? Does it require a business plan or just paperwork?
It doesn't require the business plan. You just come make an application. You can make it either through. Now we're doing some other really exciting stuff with the churches. And I want to bring this out. We are getting churches to become e-benefit registered. Now, what is e-benefit? That is the online way business is done with veterans and the VA now. I know a lot of us, especially my generation, I don't want to get them for more information. They got your information. They just giving you access to it.
Right.
You know, you need to sign up for e-benefits. That gives you access to My Healthy Vet and a lot of other tools that VA has for veterans that our community is being denied because of a lack of knowledge. That's what Tony is talking about when you talk about, let us help you with your veteran ministry. We'll be coming out with a booklet this summer called Mountain Movers. Mountain Movers. You know, They said the faith the size of a mustard seed move mountains. See, we got a lot of mountain movers in these churches, and they call veterans. We're gonna take these mountain movers and we're gonna move some mountains to get the church involved with a lot of other issues that affects veterans in that community. This is Veterans Talk. Melanie, you
Yes,
was
sir.
not here last Saturday. Now, your folks was looking for you because they know you got these masks. So you need to talk about masks a little bit. Tell us, I know you've been giving them out to the homeless and,
Yes.
and all that stuff, but just talk about masking up. Everybody
Yes.
must mask.
Some of my family members found out that I was making masks, and they put in their request for masks. So that's a good thing. But I bought a Frozen, Batman, and Paw Patrol children's bed set, and I opened it up, and I'm making masks for children now. That's the next project because I haven't been focusing on the children enough. So I'm going to use those sheets and pillowcases that I opened up and the fitted sheets and start making masks for children. Because there's an area off of Candler Road. There's a hotel off of Candler Road that has a lot of children there. And I'd like to be able next week to go and start handing out masks to the little ones. And then start back with the men and then the women and then the children and just rotate until I run out of fabric or supplies. And I'm no longer asking for donations. I'll do it myself. I'll fund my own supplies because
Well,
yes, sir.
you know what? I guess for people that's listening for the first time, when you came in, I think there was one important point that you left out.
What was
And I think
that?
people need to know.
Oh, is it for free?
No.
What
Not
is it?
even mask related.
What?
You need to let the world know that you are a proud veteran.
Well,
They make the first time listeners, and you deserve
Okay.
a thank you for your service and everything else. And you can
Let's
tell them,
rewind.
you can tell them what
Hi.
branch and everything else.
My name is Melanie Anderson. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'm currently working on a project of making masks and handing them out for free. I like to be behind the scenes. I really don't like to toot my own horn. So,
Now,
But it's an earned horn.
let me interject this. Melanie is making a mask and helping us lead up this Sons of Atlanta mask. Everybody must mask up.
Mhm.
So we do need donations for materials because not only is Melanie gonna be making masks, we looking for people to be making masks. If we don't do nothing else during this pandemic, we must teach people how important it is to mask up. The focus on children is especially important now because of all the misinformation that we're
Yes.
getting about children being asymptomatic and able to have the virus and spread the virus. We need to make people understand how critical this masking up is. We're not just talking about it, we are being about it. Everybody needs to mask up. So we're talking about people making masks and giving them away. We are buying masks based on donations we getting, giving them away. We got right now masks that anybody walk up to us, we're giving them masks because we are trying to stop this enemy that's already in our account. 70-some thousand dead, and before the end of the month it'll be 100,000. We got to stop the enemy. Mask up.
Okay, I wanted to say the reason why I'm focusing on the children right now is because I have been out and about, and I've noticed that I can't say whether they're the parents, they could be aunties, uncles, cousins, I don't know. But I'll see the adult with a mask on their face, and the children are in the carts, in the strollers, going in and out of stores, going wherever their parents go, and they don't have a mask on. And I'm kind of perplexed by that. Because if you're thinking enough to protect yourself, you have to, children are people too. You have to protect your children too. Family members, babies, whoever, you're babysitting, nannies. When adults go out and they have children with them, they must put a mask on them first. And then put the mask on themselves because everybody needs to be protected. So that's why I'm focusing now on giving children, making the mask for the children and the babies because they need to be protected and looked out for.
Thank you, madam. Mass up, everybody. This ain't no joke. This is a war. If you've never been in the war, we wish we didn't have to declare the war, but it's killing us. And let me tell you something. It's no respecter of person. It's killing the rich and the poor, the black and the white, the Hispanic and the un-Hispanic. This is a pandemic, meaning it's all over the world. We got to take it serious. Even if our children are repelling against it, because Tony pointed out, we've served to give them these freedoms. And they've gotten so used to these freedoms, they don't understand that this thing that we're dealing with is a threat, not only to their freedoms, but to their lives themselves. Right. This is war, folks. This is not a joke. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't that other thing. But a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. Where we at tonight? Let's do it. Okay. Now, I want to get back to you, Tony, because you pointed out some stuff with the ambassadors, getting the ambassadors involved. To me, it's like I'm a soldier. I want my orders. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be sitting on the wrong way when I'm gonna move and what I got to do. I'm a soldier. I'm ready to go. Ambassadors, what can we do?
What an ambassador, first they utilize, they receive what I call, I have to go back and explain about ambassadors. There are several kind of ambassadors. Mm-hmm. You've been appointed and a veteran. They're what we call a military veteran ambassador. Mm-hmm. I also have citizens out there in different roles. I'm also a board chair of a youth orchestra called Symphony Youth Orchestra. And some of you all may have heard of a violinist, electric violinist by the name of Ken Ford. Been around Atlanta. He also was part of that orchestra, comes out of it. Well, we got in touch with Ken, and we just got the video back today. And it's called 22 Violins for Operation Decontamination. So they all, 22 different violins led by Ken, filmed at home, a piece, and we had to put them all together, and they're all together in little boxes, playing a certain piece that was created by a ranger, Mr. David Robertson, that retired last year from the Cobb County school system in the string department over 36 years. He created a song called Flight in Time that we played, and it featured, actually, we even have footage last weekend, the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds were in town. Ooh. And we made them part of our video. They lead it up for us as well. And so these 22 musicians came together to also become ambassadors, but they're violin ambassadors. So they go out in their communities about social media, whatever, and show their video. Just as you would show your video. But we put them all together so everybody can see who all the different ambassadors are in the different categories. I have also 22 ambassador DJs we're working on. And they played 22 minutes of their favorite music dedicated to the 22 veterans along with Operation Decontamination to help promote the cause as well and to get awareness out there. There's 22 comedians. There's just so many different 22s. I can't name them all today, but we gonna 22 you to every 22nd of the month. You're gonna think you need to direct the part of the check to us or something. We gonna put it out there for you. So, you're 22 you're gonna live with 22 before it's over.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So the 22 female veterans, is that part of that same program?
The 22. Well, it's a mixture. It's male, female. It's just a mixture of the 22. It's a mixture of different veterans. They all come. They all promote the same cause. But when you get selected at 22, which is the inaugural bunch, it'll be special and in the sense of whatever, because it shows that veterans stick together and they supporting causes and they have organizations that support veterans. So that's the purpose of it. So that's why we're doing twofold. We try to let people know who these veterans are and also causes and how we can help veterans as well and the community. Right. So it goes twofold. So it serves multiple purposes, but it all comes back to the good of all, especially this, even though it's Operation Decontamination now, but we switch hats and we'll go over and say, okay, Red McGee, we done put together something for the Sons of Atlanta. Another veteran organizations come and say, hey, can we partner? Can we do? We open to listen to all veterans, whether it's through fundraiser ventures together or whatever we can do. That's what frontline is for. We was frontline before they started talking about frontline. You follow what I'm saying? We've been out there. When you hit frontline now, you go back. We was frontline way before that. We was out there working more than talking. We do just a lot more work as opposed to just talking about things. We try to bring it to action and come up with a plan and be accountable for it and come up with solutions. I mean, because that's just one thing, like I say, that our veterans deserve. They deserve, we say veterans in action, we deserve to give action. They deserve it, they've earned it, or whatever. And, and then like sometimes I guess when they come back home, it's like old Janet Jackson song, "What have you done for me lately?"
Yes.
See him get pushed aside. And, and then I saw something a little disturbing this morning before, I went to my office. I was just reading my daily reading. I'm talking about 22 veterans committed suicide today, but last week on the George J. Navy ship, they didn't commit suicide on the ship, but 3 active duty sailors committed suicide in 1 week. And I said, I never thought about active duty sailors, but just to see 3, I said, well, it's probably more than that for as I know, because I know everything don't get out with the military, just saying, but that was alarming. And I mean, suicide itself, and I mean, it's not just when I speak of veterans, but as a world, as a nation as whole, mental health is just something we kind of sweep under the rug, and it's silent like this virus. You just never know who's impacted. And, and some folks, and I've talked to people on both sides of the fence, whether they're civilian or veteran, some folks are afraid to open up because, 2, this is what they feel. They feel half the people that they know glad they got the problem, and the other half don't care. And it puts them in a vice where they feel like they have no other choice. And Frontline wants to be there, at least take 1% and say, well, it ain't 50% here. We got that 1% that care. And one of the things we're working on is creating what we're calling VA houses, not veteran affairs or anything like it's veteran anonymous houses, but 24 hours we have them houses staffed with counselors, therapists, ministers, whatever you need. We can have you picked up, brought to that house. If you need to stay overnight or whatever to get what you need, we won't just push you back out there.
Is that the bond house?
That's the bond house. That actually is something that, for those that was at the November 19th press conference at the Marriott, that actually got a chance to meet Miss Trina Parks. And Miss Trina Parks was in the first, it's considered, the first Black James Bond girl. She was Thumper in Diamonds Are Forever. And I gave her the Bond name because I told her we were going to do a fundraiser with the different Bond girls, like Holly Berry and a whole other group of them, and help raise funds, and I would call them the Bond houses, and because of the effort they would participate with. So and even though the pandemic may have changed certain things, but it didn't change the fact that 22 more folks are still committing suicide today. So we still got to move forward with these plans and make adjustments. And that's why I tell the folks, I don't know if you ever had driver ed, they had the automatic car, then sometimes they teach you how to drive that stick shift.
Yes.
Well, when you drive that stick shift, you don't stop driving, you just shift gears, depending on what it is. So we just had to shift some gears at Vet 22 in Frontline to go on to fight another war. But we still have we haven't abandoned any of the other ones, but we had to shift to meet the demand of the community, of the veterans, or whatever. And like I said, this is the time for these veterans that I talk with, they're ready to go to work. I think we just need to get them loaded up with what they need. We got veterans doing the training that's special. I mean, you just be amazed with the wealth of knowledge veterans bring, with the skill set. I mean, it's phenomenal that we just don't maximize it here. I mean, and we really do. We can solve a lot of problems. I mean, if I had to put my money on it, I'm going with the veterans to solve this problem because I've learned so much from them, from things they've told me, whether they've been on the battlefield or behind the desk or whatever, the chain of command. You learn so much from them. You just have to listen. But if we employ that in our daily lives and communities, we'll be a better place. I mean, we really would. And that's why I advocate this and that. But like I say, we've been so spoiled here that we take things for granted, the freedoms and everything else. And then as soon as that freedom is infringed upon, you think you can go get a gun and you can protest this and that. when you fight an invisible enemy, it's letting you know who's boss. So, and that's something even the freedom might not be able to save you from because you've been so. But now it's time to reflect and meditate and be thankful for understanding that freedom has a price, and people have paid it for us. Now that's the time to acknowledge our veterans and even the active duties. Because what is an active duty person? A person one day that's going to leave out the service and become a veteran. So we still need to acknowledge they're all in the same family. One is on the stage and the other one is now in the background, but they still family. So we have to appreciate all of that, and that's what gives America its edge is actually the military. To be honest with you, we're no longer the producer we once were. We become the biggest consumer.
Yes.
We do a lot of talk like the Wizard. You remember the Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Sent folks running around the world when they delivered the goods. He couldn't really do anything, talking behind the curtain, But now it's time to start becoming producers again. Now, one of the things Operation Decontamination, we're going to start making our own masks. We're going to start making our own already hand sanitizers. Folks don't know this is called Healthy Hands, which most folks tell you uses something 70% alcohol. Well, what they don't tell you about that alcohol, once you rub it and it dries, as soon as you touch something a few minutes later, you contaminate your hands.
Recontaminate.
You recontaminate it. But we have something that's been put together by veterans called Healthy Hands. It has no alcohol. It is alcohol free. You can put it on, rub it. It's going to last you about 4 hours, even if you're touching your phone or anything else. So we have to educate people even about the proper products and hygiene things that, that can help things even better.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. But I learned this from veterans,
You're right.
And they know a whole lot more than some of us think they do. So we just have to acknowledge them, listen to them, appreciate them, reward them. That's already deserved. So that's why I can say. So I just want to say, hey, when you think of the Vet 22, just think of all the other good things veterans are doing. In addition, that we honor those that are no longer with us, but just continue to think about all the good ones. Because I'd rather see a veteran earn their 21 gun salute without 22 causing it. That's what we work to do.
Oh, thank you, Tony, for that. But we looking at elections, just straight up, and veterans got something to do. I mean, I'm really I appreciate the fact that somebody can say thank me for my service, but don't recognize the vastness of my service, the sacrifice I made for my service in my service, and we need some issues. Veterans need some issues that they can take to the poll that make sense with the people that they voted for, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. There are some things that we just need to focus on. And we got some issues that we need to discuss. The first one is everybody talking about Agent Orange. They running all here and there and everywhere. They got this register set up at VA. They got that. Then they got Camp Lejeune that have piled in on top of that. Contamination and exposure to chemicals. And what we've learned over the years that we've been involved with this, that there are military bases, over 200 of them right this day as I speak, that are contaminated. But I don't feel like the young people that are serving at these military bases are really being informed about the contamination and what possible health effect it's going to have on them later on. I can tell you this. I stood up in Vietnam and had called in the spreading of Agent Orange. Today I got brain tumors. I stood up in it and called for the spread of Agent Orange. Today I got a heart disease. What I'm concerned about is your voting, how you vote. Don't care what nobody else say. You know what you feel every day in your body. Why do we have to have Camp Lejeune, contaminated water, and Agent Orange, and down these folks are talking, but when you look at the health effects of each one of them, they're the same. They cover the same body parts. The impact on these body systems are the same. Cancer, Alzheimer, Parkinson. They call it neurobehavioral effect for contaminated Camp Lejeune, but in Vietnam they call it post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Same symptoms, different etymology. You know, that's what you hear we talk about in claims. You understand the etymology of your condition in order to make it service related, in order to get benefits for disabilities. But we got to be able to talk this talk. You know, it's too many people coming to the table talking about what they're going to do for veterans and don't have a clue as what the veterans really need. We need an overhaul of VA. I'm talking about a legislative overhaul. I'm not talking about a new secretary coming in. So every time you get a new secretary, you get a new set of policies. I'm gonna give you for an example. When Trump took over, he had this undersecretary, which he made Secretary of VA, appointed by Obama. Before he got appointed, he was about to raise the issue of hypertension to the presumptive of Agent Orange list. Now, all of the data, all of the medical research, and all of the professional organizations that help VA determine disabilities agree that exposure to Agent Orange causes hypertension. But there's an underlying reality too, that most people with hypertension are people of color.
Right.
It never made it to the Agent Orange list. We need an overhaul, a legislative overhaul that stop all of this stuff. And we talk with veterans under know they can tell you that that's the case. The overhaul of VA is essential for every division. There are 3 divisions of VA. That's the health care division, there is the benefits division, and then there's internment. We don't talk about internment, but I can say today it is probably the best functional area of the VA. You know, that's, you ain't talking about it. And some of you, your family not even getting the benefit because they don't know it. You haven't explained it to them. You know, so we need some real help here. We need a department of commission on the county level that oversees care of veterans in their communities and in the cities. We have veterans at a national level because of our military service, but we live locally.
Right.
We live locally. And Fulton County and the counties could oversee a department to make sure that veterans was getting their benefits. So that will decrease the health care expenditures of the counties.
Yes.
So, but ain't nobody gonna talk about this but us. You know, and we need to be talking to Purdue, all them people running for office. We need to give them a list, a part of this issues that we need to see happen. Listen, we learned during this pandemic how much income disparities exist in this country. And we got, so the government said, well, if you're making under $100,000 a year, you're gonna get this $1,200, right? I've been making under $100,000 a year for all of my, and I need a 30% across the board pay raise for every disabled veteran so that they can have the quality of life that their peers are enjoying.
That's true.
I sacrifice my health for the service of this country.
That's
You talk
true.
about the freedom that you enjoy. I paid for them. That's my health effect. We need to talk about these issues to these politicians that want our vote come this November. No, they've already voted, ain't they? They vote this month. See, we need to talk to these people. We need to get in their face. They need to know where we stand. And the ones that don't comply, we need to show them how we gonna act. I ain't talking about raising no signs. I'm talking about with that ballot.
Right.
With the ballot.
Yes.
See, we need to get serious about our own stuff.
Today.
Today, right? Yesterday.
Yeah.
We need to have already been serious about this stuff that we go up against. And we're not serious about the stuff that we are going up against. We're not serious about the things that we're involved with. We're in the middle of a show, please. I'm in the middle of a show. That's my daughter, excuse me, y'all. But we need to be serious about voting this, and we need to make sure our children understand this too.
Mm-hmm.
They some of them are taking the pandemic a little, too casual.
Oh yeah.
They're a little bit too casual with it. What we got to be able to do though is this November, all of these people that want to be in office next year, they need to hear from us this year.
Yes.
this year. We shouldn't put this off, veterans. We can't afford to put it off, because what happened to us when we go to the VA is really crumble in a way, because they right now we got two systems at work at the VA: the legacy system and the new system, online system. Most of the people that I represent, and I represent a lot of people in the city of Atlanta, ain't even online. They ain't even got no internet access. They're not even paying for that. I'm 73 years old. Do you think that they were dancing with computers when I came out of the military?
Nope.
No, they weren't. So right now they still ain't dancing with them. They don't got too much of my business. The new technology is our business. We need to make sure that this system don't switch every time we switch presidents. Every time we switch presidents, they get a secretary. They get one secretary, they fire him. The next secretary got to come up with a new set of policies to implement this man's view of how they should treat veterans. The treatment should be consistent throughout the generation.
Consistency, yes.
You know, one generation of veteran will never abandon another. And today's soldiers, Tony pointed out, is tomorrow's veterans. We need to be serious about this in our community, because see, we go to the poll religiously. Joe, you know what that North South Carolina, he was dead in the woods until he got to the South. And black people rose up and made him the front runner. Joe, we are looking at you. We know what you can do. We know that you can drag enough people in to get Mitch out of there. We need you to start campaigning on that level. We need a new Supreme Court, meaning an expansion of the current Supreme Court, that they done stacked up. We need 13 justices on the U.S. Supreme Court. That's an expansion that will cover this thing that Mitch did. Every judge that this administration appointed, we need to appoint to. I mean, come on now. If we're going to see a system that's going to operate for all the people, we need to be serious about it. So veterans got some things to vote for. They got some things that they need to demand. Because if we don't, the freedom that we sacrificed for going to be gone. I mean, this pandemic showed us how quick that could happen. And let me tell y'all something before I go. A national emergency is about 1 or 2 steps from a martial law.
Yes. I'm glad you said that.
They won't be able to handle that.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm just veterans talk. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring you information, education, and some assistance with what we need to be looking at. You know, because as Tony pointed out, it ain't going back to normal. That normal is gone.
It's gone.
Right.
What we need to be doing is getting ready for the new normal.
Yes.
And you know what else? We need to be helping to create it.
Yes.
See, what we done got to wait on son to do something. I ain't waiting on nobody to do nothing. I'm gonna do what I'm able to do.
You got to be proactive.
You got to be proactive.
I'm right behind you.
This is time for us to be proactive. This is time for us to be talking with these people that's running for office. We see how quick they can put money together. Listen, they can put that raise, that 30% raise across the board. They can put that together before November if they want to stay in office. See, Trump, this is your call. You always dangling money in front of me. I'm at on $1,200, man. I want a 30% pay raise across the board. And I'm going to tell you why I think they need it. Especially my generation. I was wounded in combat in 1968. I got service connected in 1984, bro. That don't sound like nothing I want my children to have to follow. Why did it take so long? First of all, the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge. They ain't have nobody out there trying to help me understand what I was up against except my mom and my daddy, and they didn't know. All they know, they saw a change. They saw some changes in us. That's, ooh, what the world happened to this boy? PTSD, Agent Orange. That's what I brought home. And what came with that was a massive drug epidemic in poor communities throughout this country. That's what Vietnam veterans brought home. because why? They tricked us. They made us thought that we were sneaking something they had already designed a plan for us. We thought we were being slick, trying to smuggle drugs back through customs. Where you gonna take it? Take it home. You took the demon home with you. So this is veteran talk. I'm just trying to get to my generation because see, we got something to do. We got some things to do, and we ain't got that much time. Time is really not on our side because the pandemic has shut us down. I want everybody who haven't done it already to get your absentee ballot. Get your absentee ballot. They're trying to make sure that we don't vote. They're trying to make sure that we don't vote. These people that's in office now, they're the greatest voter suppression people in the land. My current governor, Kemp, Brian Kemp, stole the Georgia gubernatorial election. I said it, Brian. I say it again in your face if you need me to. So see, I'm not Yasser Nelson. I'm just coming to you like a soldier. I'm coming to you like a citizen. I'm coming to you like a veteran that have served and loved this country. We need change, and the changes we need, we want to see them going into effect in November. The people that go to office in November, we'll see them the next time, because we're going to watch you. We're going to call your office. We're going to ask you to come out in the community. We're going to ask you to look at the way they're doing the school systems in our communities, where they focus more on standards than they do on teaching. You know, my kids don't know nothing about this one. I think they took that out of the curriculum. They talk back in a minute. I mean, quick. Get one of the 13, 14-year-olds. They talk back so quick you be on. Where they come from? They're values that and then the home too. We need the preachers to do some counseling, some home counseling. Anthony, we're gonna have to get these preachers to do some home counseling, you know, because I don't see us having bad kids. I see us having bad parents. Parents are not doing what they need to do in terms of spending time with their kids, teaching their kids some values, not giving them some that really you can't afford to give them because you're keeping up with the Kardashians. No, I mean not the Kardashians, the Jones.
They are the Kardashians.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
The new
talking
Joneses.
veterans
Yeah,
talk. We're
that's
trying
the
to do
new
some
The
stuff.
new Joneses.
We're trying to do some stuff that's absolutely necessary. I know we're getting close to the end. I want Melanie, I want you to sum it up and tell them where we're at. Next week, we'll be back and doing the same thing.
Oh yes, we'll be back here. Well, they'll be back here next week doing the same thing they were doing this week. And that is informing our community and our veterans about the opportunities, about the way that they can help improve and build on the situation that we have right now. And I'm so happy to know that there are a lot of nonprofit organizations out here like Vet 22.
Connecting the dots.
Yes, connecting the dots, offering decontamination training, 24 care for those that are finding themselves dealing with their mental challenges, emotional challenges. I'm happy to know that the CBC here, the church has always been the focal point for, I don't know about anybody else's community, but I know for the Black community, it has always been a staple. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the church, the building, the leaders, the clergymen and women are going to stand up and roll their sleeves up and get dirty and get grimy with helping us get on the right track. Because right now, spiritually, we are lacking in luster here. We are really lacking in luster. The word says, train up your child in the way that they should go. And when they are old, they will not depart from it. So we need to get back to the foundation of the Word of God, because it's true and it's the only thing that's going to help us go forward in our lives anyway. So I'm just saying I'm happy to be part of Veterans Talk, and we'll see you next week.
And I'm just happy to say, Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Say it
Happy
like a
Mother's Day to
mother.
all.
Thank
the
you.
mothers.
Say
Yeah.
it like a mother.
I don't celebrate Mother's Day.
Mother's
every day.
Mother's Day is not for you
Every
to
day.
celebrate.
It's every
It's to
day.
celebrate you.
No.
See, that's the twist. See, it's not for you to celebrate, but Mother's Day is.
I like to be celebrated every day.
Celebrate you. Well, I mean,
No, I am. I'm
we
good. I have good
want,
children.
that's something we should do.
They're
Celebrate
special,
our
but they're
mothers
good.
every day. We should. We really should. Maybe that's something we need to